Yeah. I'm in the building. I'm live now. I'm live again. Good morning to all my good people. How you guys doing today? You know how I start off my campaign updates every time, right? I always started off with the name. You remember the name. I got to keep hitting you with that, remembering the name, right? Aaron Benjamin Miles. That's the name to remember. Aaron Benjamin Miles. Because we making history right now. Just for being honest. Just for being too honest. Just for being painfully honest. Aaron Benjamin Miles. This is my docu-series before becoming mayor of NYC. This is my campaign, Rise of the Good People, Aaron Benjamin Miles. You're soon to be 110th mayor of New York City, Aaron Benjamin Miles. I'm gonna start things off today with taking my moment of silence to give praise to the Most High, and then to give recognition to our ancestors, without whose guidance, wisdom, and protection we wouldn't be here. So let's first take a moment of silence to give praise to the Most High. Yeah, and let's take another moment of silence to give recognition to our ancestors, without whose wisdom, guidance, and protection we would not be here. Yep. Aaron Benjamin Miles, 110th mayor of New York City, Rise of the Good People, my docu-series before becoming mayor of NYC, will soon be available on video on demand on Amazon Prime. This is history in the making, people. Pay attention. I do have a topic for today. And because of my topic for today, you probably going to get the hissing and the static and all the filters that YouTube likes to put on my videos when I talk about things in opposition to the white agenda. Because this is totally head-on collision with the white agenda right here. This topic right here, this topic is called Time to End White Privilege. It's time to end white privilege. So I guess we're really going to have to define that today. Who benefits from it and why they want it to stay. Time to end white privilege. Right now, the buzz in the news is the murder of these 8 Asian women by this gentleman who went to all of these massage parlors and he just shot these women. It's like 6 Asian women, I think, and 2 white women. But you know, they mostly focusing on the Asian woman because it's like he was going in there looking for them. And then that spins off into just the spike in the racist attacks being experienced by our good brothers and sisters in the Asian community, right? And so we all should stand up and speak out for them so we could protect them from these attacks from advocates of the white agenda. That's all who it is these domestic terrorists. But that's not what this is from, though. I'm going to be honest with you. I listened to the story, and when I started really paying attention to the details, this is not a racially motivated attack. Even though it was a white man and he's targeting all these Asian women, I don't think it was racially motivated. It was disgruntled, misguided, uneducated, white male gentleman who was rejected. He felt scorned and rejected because those places that they're identifying as massage parlors, massage spas, or whatever they are, Asian massage parlors, those are typically places where escorts perform their duty. And, that's where the escorting is going down. Some people don't understand what that is. So you gotta break it down. Like I told y'all yesterday, we just a bunch of nobodies. And one of the things on my list for being a nobody is being exposed to drugs, alcohol, and prostitution. Well, there's the prostitution, escorts. So these are a bunch of nobodies again, right? And these politicians and people in positions of power, aka advocates of the white agenda, they're going to just look at all of these people involved in the situation as a bunch of nobodies. But as I read between the lines, this is what I see. A white gentleman pushing his white privilege as far as it'll go. A white gentleman pushing his white privilege as far as it'll go. Now, thing about white privilege, it'll get you in the door. The thing about white privilege is it'll get you in the door where most of the rest of us might get rejected, right? Those massage parlors performing them escort services, if that was a black gentleman, he probably would have been stopped at the door. No, we don't do this. No, sorry. We close. No speaking no English, right? But the white gentleman, even though you could tell he's wrecked, he's broke, he don't have nothing, just like the rest of us nobodies. He's a nobody too. But he's a white nobody. He's just another white nobody. So he didn't get stopped at the door. They let him in. But the thing about society right now is society's conditioned more so than just responding to white privilege. You still have to have money when it comes to these businesses and these services. You have to have money, my man. You can't just go in there with that white privilege and think you're going to be treated like a king. You need money for that. So this is what happened. He went into that Asian massage parlor looking for escort services. And even though he looked broke, as he looked to the rest of us, because you could look at him, he looks broke. He doesn't look like a well-to-do gentleman, even though you can't judge a book by the cover, but by the look of that book, it wasn't much more to it on the inside. So, but because he was white privilege, got him in the door. And when he got in, he went to all these different massage parlors and all of them rejected him. They all gave him the same rejection at the same point. You let him in, you want to be treated like a king, you tell him what the price for that is. He didn't have that, and you asked him to leave. He felt rejected again and again and again. He couldn't believe his white privilege couldn't get him the king treatment because he wanted some coochie. He must have needed it really bad. And I guess he didn't want to go home and just watch a video. So instead of going home and watch a video and just be like, this is all I could afford right now, he went and got his gun. See, that's another one of those things, the white people who are weak and cowardly, they, when they get that gun in their hand, they feel powerful, especially if you don't have a weapon like a gun. And so he did what he did because he felt scorned and rejected because his white privilege didn't get him the services that he was seeking. And he went to all of the escort spots. He went to all of those spots that do those services. He knew all of them because he was going to all of them. And he took his anger out on every massage parlor, AKA escort shop that he found. And he was about to go to Florida and tear up their escort parlors too. That's what happened. So you can't call this a hate crime. This is a social sex crime, if you will. Just a gentleman who was really desperate for sex, and he mistook his white privilege, for something that would get him much further than it would, and lacking the money to afford the services, he was rejected. And he got in his feelings, and he went and he, took a bunch of lives of these women that performed these services. That's why there was a couple of white women in there. They were also working at, probably some of these massage parlors as escorts. I only know this because, like I said, I'm another nobody too. So I've been exposed to this lifestyle. I know how this lifestyle goes. I don't participate in it anymore. At one point in time I did. And so I know that feeling of being rejected. Trust me, black men get it worse than everybody. Sometimes we have money and get rejected just because of the color of our skin. I'm gonna keep it all the way real. You got some of these escorts, you will text them or contact them, and they ask you, what nationality are you? I know brothers know what I'm talking about. They say, what nationality are you? As soon as you say AA, which means African American or black, or any one of those things, they say, sorry, I don't even care that you have money. I'm not messing with you. This is the world we live in, man. This is the racism. We want to keep it all the way real. We got to keep it all the way real. There's rejection because of race. And when you're a black man, it's rejection because of race, even if you have money. That's how women in this world is conditioned to react to black men. But anyway, now white Asian brothers and sisters are feeling away because they might not know that's what this was all from. And they just see that Asian was attacked. And then there's been an increase in Asian people being attacked by these, misguided white people, because they think the coronavirus came from the Asian people or whatever it is. And right now, Asian people don't feel safe. But I'm going to say something to you about that too, my Asian brothers and sisters. You want us to jump up and get involved and have your back and help you. But here's another, uncomfortable truth. You sit back and you watch black men, women, and children get murdered on a regular basis, because it happens on a regular basis. And you don't say anything. You don't want to get involved. You say, oh, that's not us. That's not our people. That's not our group. So why we need to go marching with them about that? Why should we say something about that? This is why you want to say something about that, because now that is your community that's feeling under attack. How would you feel if the black community, who are the poster child, we're the forefront of this this fight for equality, this revolutionary fight? We the ones you really want to have your back, because we the most experienced at this kind of fight, right? So you really want us to be on your team. But you have to consider how we looking at the situation, and we say, well, where were you when they was killing our brothers and sisters and children? You consciously said, no, let me stay out of that. Let me stay out of that one, because that's the black people problem. That's not our problem. Like, why we want to be out there marching? They going to see us on the video, and they probably going to say, oh, those Asian people's helping them black people. Let's get them. See, that's what you're worried about. We know how it goes. You don't want to be seen as an advocate or supporter of the people being attacked, because you think it's going to bring some heat into your community. And it very well might. But the fact of the matter is, by joining in together and making your voice heard in support of our cause, more justifies us getting involved in the situation that you currently are being faced with right now. But somehow black people don't think like everybody else. We're not going to do that to you just because you didn't come to our aid, because we're used to that now. We're used to the fact that even you have been one of the guilty parties of how should I say this? You're one of the guilty parties of the discrimination and the inequity, the lack of diversity, the non-inclusion. You're guilty of this too. We come into your stores, which are always in our community, and there's never any black people that work there. You only come there to get money from us, and you don't give us good service. I personally experience it. I go and spend a lot of money in these little stores in our community, Asian-owned stores. And when something's not right, I try to come back and bring it back. Oh, no refunds. No, they don't want to deal with you with anything where they have to give you something back. They only want to receive. More, man, this is the uncomfortable truth, man. This video probably going to go over 30 minutes today. Because we got to address all these issues. We can't just be running out there. See, I have a thing against running out there, putting my life on the line for anybody who doesn't show they're willing to run out there and put their life on the line for me. I'm not doing it. Even another black person. We got a lot of black people out there that don't want to be involved. They don't want to be a part of the good fight. They like, nah, but every time we achieve something, they the first one at the table looking to get a piece of something. I'm not with that. Either you're going to be accountable to the cause, you're going to be in attendance for the cause, or not. If you're in attendance, then everybody should be in attendance when it comes down to you. That's that all for one and one for all. But if you're not in attendance, then why should we show up for attendance for your cause? You feel me? Come on, man. Get that straight. You feel me? I'm coming through. I'm going to correct all of that. We're going to help you with your situation because that's just how we do. But we're not going to let it get another pass anymore with you treating us with these same racist, type of behaviors that you're facing right now, and now you're crying about it. You dish it out, but you can't take it. Y'all all running around with these white boys because y'all trying to harness a little bit of that white privilege until it goes wrong. Till that white boy spaz out on you, then you realize there's nobody to turn to because the law is different when it comes to white people. That's why they say all these all these Asian people in Asian communities don't want to complain or report it to the law because they know the law works a little different when you're reporting on a white person because of that white privilege. Let's just go in here. I got my notes right now, man. Ending white privilege. White privilege, let's define it. On the internet, white privilege is defined as inherent advantages possessed by a white person on the basis of their race in a society characterized by racial inequality and injustice. That's what white privilege is inherent advantages possessed by a white person on the basis of their race in a society characterized by racial inequality and injustice. And that's exactly where we live, in a society of inequality and injustice and equity. So white privilege lives very well, does live here, very much so. And Asian people of all people know you can't call no police and report nothing on a white person. The advocates of the white agenda condition society very well. Everything is really subjected to the white man. If the white man is the victim, which they really going to let the white man be a victim, because anytime the white man is in a position of the victim, they pull out all the weapons because they want everybody in the world to know, nah, you don't touch nothing this color. You might mess around and get to me one day. We want to condition you to very well know. We don't care what white person it is, even if they're not part of our circle. Just because they're our color, don't mess with them. Treat them with respect wherever they go. That's how the white agenda works. That's why some of these, white people that's not really affiliated with the special interest groups represented by the white agenda, they even get some of the benefits or the privileges. That's what they call white privilege. They can get in the door. But once you get in the door, they're going to be able to tell if you're affiliate of the special interest group, because everybody that's affiliated got money. Everybody that's affiliated with the advocates of the white agenda, they got money. Hold on a second. So that's one of the ways that they've, conditioned society to know how to screen out the ones that's not affiliated, so they don't get that special king treatment. So, just because you white, that's going to get you in the door. But that ain't going to get you that king treatment. You need that money for that, baby. Now let's see what is the cause of the white privilege. The cause is a result of an insignificant group of select and biased white men. An insignificant group of select and white, a select, is a result of an insignificant group of select and biased white men making all decisions on every issue affecting the lives of every other group. So this one little insignificant group of select and biased white men, they're making decisions for all of us. It's not a diverse group of decision makers. It's a very select group of very biased white men who are very pro-white. And I'm going to tell you this. That's not exclusive to them. If you have anybody of decision makers, or any group of decision makers, and it's all composed of one group, they're going to have a slight bias to their group. It's almost probably like human nature. If you go to China, they're going to be biased to Chinese. You go to Italy, they're going to be slightly biased to Italians. I don't know if black people are like that because we really never been in any position of power. I don't know if you go to Africa or one of these places of Haiti, I'm sure it must be the same. They're going to be slightly biased to their own group. So that's why if you want a really fair body of decision makers, it got to really reflect the group they're making the decisions for. In America, this body or group of people that the decisions are being made for, we're very diverse over here. We have all of these different nationalities. And so the decision-making body should reflect that. Otherwise, the decisions are always going to be biased in favor that's represented in the decision-making body. And I think that's probably just human nature. So that was the cause. Now let's see what's the effect. You have cause and effect. So the cause is a result of an insignificant group of select and biased white men making all decisions on every issue affecting the lives of every other group. That is the cause of the white privilege. Just because it's all white men in the group of decision makers, they're being biased in favor of white men. And so you have white privilege. And the effect of that is a society which lacks diversity. Even though we're a diverse society, but the opportunities aren't as diverse as the society we live in, right? The opportunities are being biased because the decision makers are biased. So, we have a society which lacks diversity, and diversity is variety. So the opportunities are not being shared with the variety. It's being shared with an exclusive group. Exclusive. The practice of excluding or not admitting other things. The inability to exist or be true if something else exists or is true. Restrictions to a particular person, group, or area. So they're being exclusive with opportunity. So there's no diversity. Another definition for diversity is the practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders, sexual orientations, etc. That is what diversity is. But because we have this insignificant group of select and biased white men making all the decisions, we have no diversity. Also, we will have a society which lacks equity. as a result of this white privilege. There's a society which lacks equity. Now, what is equity? Equity is the quality of being fair and impartial. Quality of being fair and impartial. You can't be fair and impartial if you have the whole decision-making body or group made up of one race of people. This very insignificant cannot provide or show equity, which is the quality of being fair and impartial. They can't be impartial because they bias to their own group. So we have a society which lacks diversity, which is variety, and we have a society which lacks equity, which is the quality of being fair and impartial. We also have a society which lacks inclusion as a result of this insignificant body of select and biased white men making the decisions for all of us. We have no inclusion, which is the action or state of including or of being included within a group or structure. Another definition for that is a person or thing that is included within a larger group or structure. There's no inclusion. Just the fact that they're a select group of all white men means there's no inclusion. The practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as members of minority groups. There's no inclusion because, the decision-making body has no inclusion. The decision-making body, they're trying to keep exclusive, which is the practice of excluding or not admitting other things. The inability to exist or be true if something else exists or is true. Restriction to a particular person, group, or area. They're restricting us from being able to make decisions. That's why they fight so hard, to maintain power, control, and domination. And there's more reasons for that I'm going to get into right now in a minute. Advocates of the white agenda are totally unified. Now, this is where we run into a problem because we all fragmented. And we need to come together. Asian people, Black people, Hispanic people. We have the good white people, but y'all a funny little group because it's hard for us to know if you the good white people or the bad white people, because bad white people know how to adjust and act like the good white people. And then that exposes us. That gives us a vulnerability when we try to really, partner up with you, because all they got to do is pretend they you, and they marching right along with us, so they might be behind us, and before we know it, they bust us upside the back of our head, because we done let them get in back of us, thinking that they was you. We got to find a better way to deal with that, because, I don't know yet how we going to deal with that. That's why a lot of times we really don't really want or need white people to be too up involved in our little groups that's trying to address these issues, because you create a situation where we could be infiltrated really easily by these advocates of the white agenda. And we really need to avoid that until we get this matter under control, at least. But advocates of the white agenda are totally unified and focused on a single objective of maintaining power, control, and domination. See, they're unified, and they're focused on their objective. They say, this is our objective. This is our objective. We have to maintain power, control, and domination at all costs. And we have to be unified in that. See, when the Republicans be together, when Mitch McConnell, he lets them all know we got to be unified. We can't be breaking apart. But I don't care. I don't care if some of y'all disagree with some of our decisions. You can't let that be. You can't let them see that. You got to still stand with us. Because at the end of the day, this is all about us maintaining the power, control, and domination for us. Right? And every time they in their group, it's just a bunch of white people. Right? Every time you see them on the TV and you know they're speaking out against something or about something, it's just a bunch of white people. They specifically make you see that because they letting other white people know who they are and who they represent. That's not done by accident. That's done on purpose for them to let other white people know who they are and who they represent. Now, as a unified collective group in control of all positions of power, by simply maintaining a unison of total agreement, they have the power of law. That's why they want to maintain all these positions of power. And even if it's not a white person in a position of power somewhere, it's an advocate of the white agenda. They know how to pick, you know, these compromised Negroes or these, you know, compromised people of color, these weak people of color, or these people of color who are for sale, where they sell their soul. They know how to pick them to make things look a little more diverse. You know, this is how they make things look a little diverse, but those people who they pick are under their total control. They will only do what they tell them to do. It's almost like they're in that position of power by having that compromised, weak, or person of color that's for sale in that position of power. That's how they try to, you know, make us think things are changing. They get one of these people that they have total control over, who will only listen to their instruction. And they put them in one of the positions of power. And they say, see, things are getting diverse. Look, we've included you. Now you're included. But in reality, you're still not included because that person doesn't see any of your interests. They only invested in their interests, the interests of the white agenda. So they have power of law just by being in total agreement and in unison, where they can legalize anything to achieve their agenda of power, control, and domination. This collective unison even gives them power over the Constitution. See, as long as they have all the positions of power and they in total unison, they have power over the Constitution. Everybody's trying to figure out how the Constitution works, and they're studying that thing, and they're saying, oh, they got to follow this, they got to follow. They don't have to follow nothing as long as they all agree. They could bring slavery back right now just by agreeing. Yeah, I'm going to bring slavery back. If we all say slavery is legal right now, slavery will be legal, and we could use our military forces to enforce that. They could do that right now just by agreeing. It probably amended, changed. They could add, take away laws just by agreeing. Once all of them agree, that's it. That becomes law. That's why they want to keep all of those spots they want to control all the positions of power. Because as long as they control all the positions of power with one of their people, when it comes time to make a decision, all they got to do is all agree. That's why they say all in favor say aye. They all say aye. That's it. That's it for you. Once they say aye, you don't have no rights once they all agree. So that Constitution don't mean nothing. As long as all of them are in the positions of power, all they got to do is agree. They can change the Constitution how they want to. So that white privilege got to go. And we have to come together because that's the only way to combat them. See, there's a number. I don't know what the number is yet, but there's a number that puts fear into them where it starts to make them feel threatened. It's not, of course, it's not one, because one of us, they look at one of us just like another nobody. It's not 10, it's not 100, it's not even 1,000. They look at 1,000 of us like 1,000 nobodies. But it's probably somewhere in the hundreds of thousands or a million. I'll say a million real easily. If it's a million of us that come together at any one time, that's when they really start to think it may not matter if we all agree. This could get dangerous for us. So we better make it, diplomatic right now. We better make it seem like the law is dictating how this goes, and it's not just us saying how we want, how we feel. That's the power of the numbers. You feel me? It's something about when we come together with huge numbers. It makes them feel threatened. It makes them feel like the resources that they have at their disposal may not be enough. And when they feel that the resources they have at their disposal may not be enough, then they go back to acting like it's diplomacy. See, and it's this other thing that they have that they really was their secret weapon. But it's really not working right now because everybody's awake and paying attention, and that was confidentiality. Confidentiality is the state of keeping or being kept secret or private. That's why they always like to go into a private room. That's why when they have documents, when they want to release the truth, they redacting all of the information out of there. They blacken it out so that you're still not seeing the information because they don't want you to see what they did to manipulate the laws and the rules in their favor, because they're twisting the laws and they bending the laws and they breaking the laws. They don't care about no laws as long as they have the cover of confidentiality, that cover of darkness. They'll violate your rights all day as long as they feel safe that you won't know who did it. It's time to end white privilege. This white privilege, subject to the advocates of the white agenda, is killing a lot of us in these other communities of color. And you never could hold any white person accountable as long as this white privilege exists. They will never label them as a terrorist. They would very rarely label them as a hate crime. They always find a way out of that. They'll make an excuse. He had mental health issues. Oh, he was deprived of sleep. They give them excuses you could never use. For black person or Asian, imagine the Asian person going to a bunch of white establishment and killing 8 white people. All of the SWAT teams, they would have had the National Guard out looking for them. All of the roads would have been blocked. And that Asian person, whoever it was, they wouldn't have been taken into custody alive. They would have been killed just on some payback. Like, you want to kill white people? Blah! Dead. We don't even want to trial you. You're just out of here. So anybody else who sees this thinking they're going to do that, they know what it is. See how they caught the white dude? Not a scratch. They always catch their people without harming them because that's another one of the things of the white agenda, to let condition, because all the law enforcement are not white, but they condition and train all the law enforcement of any other nationality. When you handle a white person, it's almost like hands off. You handle him very delicately. You don't do no excessive force. You don't use no deadly force. You apprehend him. You bring him in. You let us question him. You let us investigate. You let us. We gonna trial him. He have to make it to trial, but we don't make it to trial, right? This is the world we living in, people. Diversity, equity, and include the people in these positions of power who are not compromised, who are not weak, and who are not for sale, who will stand up and who will disrupt this system of white privilege. You know what I mean? Who will regulate the laws and who will enforce the laws fairly, equitably. That's what I'm coming to do as the 110th mayor of New York City. Aaron Benjamin Miles, man. Trust me, that ain't going down when I'm up in there, man. All my white brothers and sisters, I'm sorry to tell you, don't expect no white privilege. Once I'm mayor of New York City, don't expect that white privilege. Ain't none of that happening. If you break a law, man, I really honestly feel like I would come get you myself. I mean, I know I'm going to have law enforcement to do all that, but that's how strongly I feel like I'll come and get you myself, man. You violate any one of my Asian brothers and sisters, my Italian brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters. You violate any of my brothers and sisters, man, whoever it is, man. There's no place to be safe. Not in New York. You're going to have to leave fast if you can make it. We changing things. The world's different. You feel me? And that's the end of this white privilege, man. When I get up to bat, white privilege is over. So don't expect it. Not saying you're going to be treated with any lack of respect. Everybody's going to get the same amount of respect. Equal treatment under the law. Because all of the good people, we fed up now. We tired. We tired of dealing with the nonsense that these biased, insignificant body of lawmakers and decision makers, how they manipulate the laws in their favor. Everyone in the world is tired of that. And so I'm sure you feel that. And now our soldiers, our warriors, we starting to come out and we starting to surface and we about to change the game. I'm going to leave it at that, yo. It's Aaron Benjamin Miles for the rise of the good people. Aaron Benjamin Miles, 110th mayor of New York City. Aaron Benjamin Miles, before becoming mayor of NYC. Docuseries, soon available video on demand on Amazon Prime. New York City Savages, we political now.